What up, YouTube, and welcome back to another English live stream. I was about to say live stream review here at Thomas Opent, where we're going to look into what is one of my favorite barrel-aged series here in the Netherlands. It's from Brouwerij Berghoeve Brouwerij, and it's their Zwarte Snorre, Twents Imperial Stout, Tamdhu Whisky barrel-aged. Tamdhu Whisky is a Scottish single malt, and Zwarte Snorre, which translates into black mustache, is an imperial stout from the Netherlands, from the province Twente. Not the province Twente, the province Overijssel, the region Twente. They make some amazing beers. They're pretty old school in a good way. They do some sort of like new stuff, as in they have well, people will call it a BIPA, black India Pale Ale, but they don't like that term, so they call it a black, an India Dark Ale, India Black Ale, I think they call it. They do like pale ales and India pale ales, but all very more classic, not in like weird ways. The weirdest thing they ever did was a version of this with coffee added to create sort of like an Irish stout version of it. Still have that somewhere lying around as well. But they barrel age it on several barrels. They've got several things going on, and the Zwarte Snorre itself, like the base beer, is one of my favorite Dutch imperial stouts, and the barrel program for the Zwarte Snorre is usually on point. Even when they're not amazing, they're still pretty much better than some of the barrel aged stuff that I've encountered. Which, for me, maybe I'm a little bit of a fanboy and I'm not 100%. What's the word? Unbiased, but still, So anyway, this beer was actually donated to me by an anonymous viewer of the channel. I know his name. I know who it is, but this one was anonymously donated, so thank you very much for sending me over this beer. And I really wanted to do one of these in English because I felt like you guys, my international audience, I know there's people from many countries watching my reviews. You guys should get a nice in-depth review of their beers, I feel. So anyway, here we go. Small little hiss on the opening. These beers usually aren't very overly carbonated, which is, normal. So if you're like, why is that head dissipating so quickly? This kind of always happens with their beers. They aren't forced carbonated or anything. So there we go. So we got a small little, like a khaki-colored, mocha-colored head on there. Pitch black in the glass, poured very dark brown. Basically exactly what I expect from a Zwarte Snorre. The base beer is loaded for me with things like tobacco, leather, soft smoky notes, sort of like that tar thing going on. And a lot of these barrels really emphasizes those characters, and a lot of them are sort of fighting against it, creating this weird, unique, what should I call it? Well, fight going on in an interesting way. Let's just see what this one does in the nose, shall we? Yeah, you definitely get that sort of boozy spirit component from the Tamdhu single malt. It's a Speyside malt, I believe. Or was it a Highland malt? Don't really know. They're not too aggressive. They're usually on the sweeter side, a bit floral, sweeter, nice oaky notes. I think that Tamdhu, the basic version, is like 7 years old when it comes out, so it's a bit more aggressive on the spirit. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the empty barrels were younger, were barrels where the whiskey was taken out at a much younger age than you'd sometimes expect. It's a great brewery, by the way. I've been there and I actually stood in the kiln while it was on, which is not something you're supposed to do, but that was awesome. It's a great distillery. It's a great distillery, Tamdhu is. So you definitely get those soft, sort of sweet smoke. Now, this is sort of like the sweet smoke that I expect from when you're at a barbecue and you get like glazed meats that sort of perfume the smoke as well. You know what I mean? That sort of, I'm not saying it could be a bit meaty, savory, umami, but it's mostly like the sweet smoke. More like a wood with a bit of a sweet note to it, like that sort of sweet smoke. You're definitely getting some oakiness to it, a little bit dryness. There's that sort of faint chocolate thing coming through already. I'm expecting that to be a bit more potent at the end. Because usually what I feel when I open up a barrel-aged beer, what the fuck? Sorry, that was weird. A car passed by with leaves on, just leaves, like tied branches on the top of the car. That looked weird. It's got a bit of, usually those barrel-aged beers, they come off as a little bit sharper when you just open them, and they breathe a little bit, they air out a little bit, and you get a little bit more of the base beer through it. I don't know what to expect from the base beer. I'm getting some of those hints. Oddly enough, There's sort of like something in there that's almost like a marzipan thing. Almost, not quite. That's the best way I could describe it right now. Get a little bit of vanilla in there from that oak barrel, the whiskey barrel, like a sort of soft vanilla note, but not so much the vanilla, but sort of like the sweetness that I get from vanilla. It's not like vanilla in your face. It's not like you crack open a vanilla pot and that's what you're smelling. It's more like that sweetness that reminds me of vanilla sweetness. Some subtle hints of coffee, chocolate, a little bit of roast. The barrel is kind of potent here, and I wouldn't be surprised if that, again, it's going to mellow down a little bit after a while. But I like the smell of this. It's kind of pretty. So whoever donated this, thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you for the beer. Yeah, this is very spirit Tamdhu forward. It's been a while since I've had Tamdhu, but I'm getting that, at least even if I'm not getting the notes of the Tamdhu itself, I'm getting definitely notes of the whiskey, of the single malt, in a very nice way. And now you're really getting that bitterness, that roast, almost near burn component of the malts, the malts from the beer. There's definitely that sort of char from the wood, but also that burn component from nearly burnt malts. Very, very smoky, very almost ashy. There's definitely the chocolate notes. What I'm definitely getting is that tar, tobacco, leather thing. A very good way, with a hint of some sort of forest fruit, red fruit sweetness. I love these beers. I've always had a soft spot for these beers. It's easy for me to maybe describe it because I've had several versions of it. Visited the brewery as well about 2 years ago. The people running that show there they're amazing. They are, maybe it's a Dutch thing, I don't know, maybe it's a northern thing, but they're open, as in hospitable. They're very hospitable, but they're also very open in their opinions, the way that they talk about how they brew their beers, how they feel about brewing beer. They are I hate the word opinionated because it sounds like a harsh thing, but they have an opinion, and being opinionated is usually a negative thing. But I mean, they have an opinion and they stand by it, and they're not harsh about defending it. But this is how they feel about their product, about their beer, and how other people sometimes do things. And I appreciate that so much. I love it so much, and I really love these people. They're amazing people. I really do want to go back to the brewery as soon as I can. Back to the beer. Stupid fly. You definitely get that ashy, smoky component in there. I'm not 100% sure anymore how big the percentage of smoked malts is in this. I think it's not very big. I am going to kill so many flies when this review is done. It's not up to the level like Schlenkela or Rauchbier, anything like that. It's not at that level of smoke, but it definitely has that smoky, ashy component, which works very well with that sweetness from the single malt, the oakiness, so the like soft tannins from the oak. And all in all, it's just such an incredibly potent, drinkable, almost dangerous. I forgot to mention the ABV. These usually clock in at around 11. Yeah, it's 11% ABV. It's got oat in it. I keep forgetting there's oat in this. There's oats in this. You get that creamy, oaty mouthfeel. It's just a delicious, luscious. It's not a thick beer, but it's a creamy beer. I mean, I can imagine somebody drinking this without knowing the ABV that they would think that this is like maybe 9.5%. It doesn't have that thickness that you sometimes expect from an 11%, but it does have the creaminess, a smooth, soft mouthfeel. Mostly because it isn't forced carbonated. It has its, I wouldn't be surprised, a little bit of carbonation added to it when they're bottling it, but usually it's just its own carbonation. It's so incredibly smooth and silky and so drinkable, like quaffable, and that's very dangerous about this because you want to keep drinking it. You want to keep exploring those flavors. You want to keep experiencing a beer like this. And the Tamdhu really works very well. They've got some Ardbeg versions. I think they did Kalila. I think they did Lafroy. I think that they did. I know they did Lagavulin. I can't say it, but they did Lagavulin. And it has all of that. It has those beers, the smoky ones, they work so well with, because they complement each other, that smoked, peaty Islet character. This is non-smoked, the single malt, and it works so well with that smoky component, that soft sweetness, that sort of like grainy component. It all works so very well with the beer itself that you get this, it doesn't clash, and it's two opposites coming together to form something very cohesive. That was one hell of a long sentence. I'm on a bit of a rant here, I'm sorry. Suffice it to say, Zwarte Snorre, basically, even when it's not the best barrel-aged beer I've ever had, it's still always beautifully balanced, very drinkable. I'm going to have no problem finishing this glass. So again, for the person who is as annoyed with me about the damn fly going around everywhere, the person that donated this beer to me, thank you very much. This guy knows that I am a big fan of the brewery, of the particular beer, and the barrel age program that they do. So thank you very much for sending this, and I'm going to very much enjoy the rest of it while I'm just going to chill out here on a relaxed Saturday afternoon where it's like 25, 26 degrees outside, and drinking a barrel-aged imperial stout is usually not the thing that you think about, but I am, because that's how I roll. And that's it for this review. If you liked it, click like. If you really liked, hit that subscribe button. All your opinions about this particular beer, if you have any of it, please drop them in the comments section below. In the subscription box below, you'll find links to all of my social media, a link to the Dutch Beer Collective, and a link to mysterybeer.nl. And I'll see all you guys in another review soon. Cheers.